Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New Mexico is a Basketball State podcast. Doing the relaunch. I'm Russell Goulet. Thank you all for joining me. We're going to do a bracket breakdown of the New Mexico Basketball State Tournament. High school basketball is finally coming to an end. March Madness here in New Mexico. All the quarterfinal, semifinal, and championship games will be played at the pit. All the first round games will be played at the highest seed. And so we're going to start this thing off on Saturday, March 7th. There's going to be different times, different gyms. If you are the higher seed, if you're the lowest seed, for instance, if you're the number one seed and you're playing the 16th seed, well, you're going to play at the number one seed's home court. So that's how that's going to work out. I believe that you can buy tickets online at gofan.com or go to the NMAA website and check that out. And you can also get tickets there, I would imagine. And you'll have to look over all their policies and everything because Lord knows they have them. And so we're going to get into it. I'm going to do another episode coming up about UNM's recent renovation plans and the recent hiring of Ryan Berryman, AD at New Mexico now. And I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. But first, we're going to do the state tournament here. We're going to check this out. We're going to go over all these things real quick and just give you an idea of what's going to happen this weekend. And so I'm kind of excited. I'm going to start off with 5A. All right, 5A. We have the brackets, and here's the brackets, and they're going to be coming up here. We have Volcano Vista playing Santa Fe. And as you can see, I have picked Volcano Vista to basically get by Santa Fe and then take on Las Cruces, which will play Albuquerque High. So these games will be at Volcano Vista and Las Cruces, where they're playing the first round. And so I'm expecting Volcano Vista with David Lunn and that crew to really get going. And it was just really hard to pick against them in this one. And they're going to meet a very promising Las Cruces team with Ben Walton, who I ranked number one in the state in preseason. And so William Benjamin and those guys are going to get going, and that should be a great showdown. I think that that's what's going to play out. Of course, Santa Fe and Albuquerque High could prove me wrong, and we'll see how that plays out. But I'm looking at Volcano and Las Cruces meeting in the quarterfinals, and I'm looking for Volcano to get past Las Cruces. Okay, it's just, like I said, it's just hard to pick against Greg Brown for me, okay? It's just very hard for me to do that. And so I see them getting up to the semifinals. And then in the other bracket, we got Hobbs and Oregon Mountain. I'm looking for Hobbs to do this at Ralph Tasker and Hobbs. I'm looking for them to really have a good game. And, well, Oregon Mountain's tough. And they've beaten Las Cruces in that very tough district down there in southern New Mexico and Las Cruces. But I'm looking for Hobbs to get past Oregon Mountain. And I'm looking for them to play La Cueva, who plays our Atrisco Heritage. And that game's going to be at La Cueva. And so we're looking at Hobbs La Cueva. And then I'm looking at La Cueva to get past Hobbs in the pit to get to the semifinals. I mean, you're looking at the top teams really coming up here. Hunter Butler for La Cueva, a lot of testosterone going on. Kobe Cooper, nice outside shot. You have Peyton Fuller, a high flyer, just needs to take it to the rim. Nobody's going to block his shot. That's just not going to happen. And you're also looking at Drew Bramlett. Drew Bramlett is another one that's kind of like a quiet star that I see doing some big things here in the state tournament. But Hunter Butler appears to have taken the reins of this team as a senior, a 6'6", you would say guard, small forward. He's beginning to show an outside shot, which is pretty nice, but he's been dunking on everybody's heads. And he's going to be playing Volcano Vista in that group. And it's David Lund and the crew. That's kind of how I view it. And Luis Gonzalez also. But I'm just thinking that Volcano Vista can get by them because it's just, like I said, it's hard for me to, let's just say it's hard for me to pick against Greg Brown. He's just a very good tactician, coach. He has them playing within themselves, within the offense. Volcano Vista, the only thing I think that could hurt them is if they don't shoot well outside. If they don't shoot well outside, then they could be in trouble, and there goes my bracket. But I see Volcano Vista getting by them and getting into the championship finals. Okay? So now we're going to go down the brackets here. Rio Rancho at Mayfield. I see, Rio Rancho getting past Mayfield. Mayfield's had a really nice year. A lot of activity from them. For Fernando Corona, I believe is his name, and also Homer Walsh. But I'm looking at Caden Richardson and Caden Decker and Deshaun Bynum. That's a threesome that has been really, really good this year. And they've been in a lot of close games in district against Cleveland, another top team, and Volcano Vista. In fact, I thought maybe they might be the one to go all the way. And I'm seeing them getting past Mayfield. And this game's going to be in Rio Rancho at Rio Rancho High School. And so I see them getting over to the quarterfinals, where the next bracket is Sandia and Farmington. This one's an interesting one. Sandia, like I said before in a previous podcast, is kind of like the walking wounded. They lost Gad Harris for the year, and that's unfortunate because they're a very good team with him in there in the game, and they've all had to switch positions. And so you have Isaiah Brown, Dion Cumber, Malachi Knox, and George Smith. That's a very formidable group, and they're just kind of playing out of position. And you look at Farmington, who has Xander Griego, and they're another nice team. And I think Farmington's problem has been being able to finish close games at the end. They do well throughout the game, but when it comes to the end, they seem to suffer a little bit. And that's where I've seen Sandia being able to get past them and go on to the next round to face Rio Rancho. And I think that one right there is going to be a very, very epic game with Steve Heredia as head coach of Rio Rancho and Danny Brown. Nice show off. Nice. That one's going to be a really exciting one to check out, is Sandia and Rio Rancho. I see that one happening. Now, Mayfield might bust that, but we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be a tough road to hoe to play against Rio Rancho. And I think Sandia will get past Farmington. Also on the next bracket, see Centennial and Carlsbad. Carlsbad is a pretty good team, and Centennial has a really, really, really nice, tall, big man, and I'm not going to bother pronouncing his name, so maybe I shouldn't even bother saying that, but it's the facts. He's a nice, big man, and they've been playing really well. In fact, they won district against Las Cruces, which was somewhat surprising to me. But they did it. They got the job done, and that's exciting for them. And that got them pretty much into the state tournament at a high seed. And I see them playing against Cleveland, who I see getting past Alamogordo with Remy Albrecht. Remy has been really, really, really doing well this year. In fact, he might just be the player of the year this year. He has played very well outside, great outside, finishes well at the hoop. You also have Jordan Rivera with Cleveland. And I'm seeing them getting past Alamogordo and playing Centennial. Now, I'm seeing Centennial going down to Cleveland because I see Cleveland getting by them and getting to the semifinals where they take on Rio Rancho, a City of Vision semifinal for the last championship spot. And that really is a toss-up, and it's kind of like the Volcano La Cueva game is a toss-up. They're both going to be toss-ups, folks. It's just a guessing game. It's just got to come down to a matter of very, very few possessions. Who is 2-3 possessions better is going to get to the state championship game. That's the way I see it. maybe one possession is all they need just to get there. That's it. One possession. It's going to be that close in the semifinals at the 5A state championship. I guarantee you that's going to be great. Stick around for that. Watch that. I promise you those are going to be two great epic games because that's how I see it playing out. I see Cleveland getting by Rio Rancho, and I see them playing Volcano Vista, and that should be a really, really tight one, maybe even into overtime. Maybe. And then again, one of these teams like Las Cruces or Sandia or even La Cueva bust my bracket completely. That could potentially happen for sure. That could potentially happen. I could see that happening. Now let's move on to the 4A boys. This one has been getting a lot of traffic on Instagram. I picked Highland to go pretty much all the way. I picked them to get past Grants, Portales, and then to face off against Del Norte, a classic rival in the semifinals, and then to take on Artesia in the finals. And a lot of people tend to, well, people outside the metro area of Albuquerque disagree with that, but most people in the metro agree with that. But you know how it is. Everybody gets kind of territorial with these types of things. And then our next bracket is Belen, Portales. I see Portales with Pierce Culpeper taking on Highland in the quarterfinals. That should be an interesting matchup. You also have Taos in the next one, St. Pius, Del Norte, and Valencia. I see Del Norte and Taos taking on each other. Taos has had a really, really good year. Very well-structured offense for sure. And Del Norte's got a lot of athletes. Mumin Omar has just received an offer from Dean College. And then you have Francois Stovey over there at Del Norte and Pedro Padron. And we'll see if these guys can really get it together and get a nice run going. They could bust my bracket, though. They could really bust my bracket. And that's if they play well together. If Jerron McIntosh can get them going, they should do all right. But it's like I was saying about Greg Brown, I say this about Justin Woody. It's hard to bet against Justin Woody. It really is. It really is tough to bet against him. As I look down here at the bracket, we have Hope Christian playing Pojoaque Valley, and that one should be a pretty tight one. I see Hope getting by them, though, and I'm seeing some Murphy magic this year. They got, I believe his name is Braden Huron and Jace Miera. Jace Miera is a really nice slashing guard, and Braden Huron scored 41 points this year in one game. I believe that's the record for Hope. So they've got a nice little duo going on. And Murphy, I believe, who's the top coach in the state. In fact, he's one of the top coaches in the whole country, one of the all-time winningest coaches in the whole country. And I believe he's around 40 or 39 now and climbing continuously. So there could be some magic there. And I see them taking on Albuquerque Academy, who I believe is going to get by Goddard. You got Hunter Aim, and then you have Zach Borrego. That's a nice duo right there. If they can hit their outside shots, they could make a run, and they might be able to get past Hope Christian and get to face off against Artesia. That might happen. I could see that happening. That's one of those iffy games right there. Del Norte and Taos could be an iffy one, too. I could see that happening. But like I was saying, Del Norte could bust the whole bracket and get past Highland. But I'm seeing Highland with Nico Sanchez and Juan Remus and Jerry Moody, the big man, getting in there and just making this run like they did last year. And so our next one is Gallup Silver. A lot of people are getting upset at me at Gallup, but you know what? Every time I pick you guys, you fail me. You let me down, you know? I don't know what it is. It's just like every time I pick Gallup, I end up losing on that one. And I'm going with Silver. They have Simeon Hawkins, a really nice point guard, and they got a really nice squad, and they do some good stuff. And it'll be tough to go into what I like to call the big house in Gallup and beat them, but I think they could do it. I think they might be able to do it. Maybe, but I think they can do it. That's an iffy one. The Gallup fans may disagree. In fact, they're laughing, but hey, maybe I get the last laugh on that one. Who knows, right? Now we're getting into Bloomfield and Artesia. This game's going to be at Artesia in the Bulldog City. The big three, Charlie Campbell, Braden Vega, and Clay Kincaid, are going to take on Bloomfield. Bloomfield from up north by the Four Corners area. This one, of course, I'm seeing Artesia making this long run all the way to the final. They were the number 2 seed. I think they could play better. Like I said in the last podcast a month ago, I still think they could play better. I think if they focus as a team, they got so much height, size. They got real good talent. In fact, they might be the biggest team in 4A right now. They just might be. It just seems like every player on their team's like 6'3", 6'2". So I just think that they could play better. If they play better, yeah, they'll be able to laugh, and I'll have to eat crow for picking against them because I'm picking Highland to win this thing, just like I'm picking Volcano Vista to win it in 5A. That's what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at Highland to beat them. Highland's not the same team they played at the Eastern New Mexico University team camp in the summer. They're just not. And, going back to this, just kind of a narrative here, Highland has been finishing off plays and finishing off those crucial moments, and they just win. That's the thing. They don't have any dominant players, so to speak. They have people stepping up and doing the plays that are necessary to win, and I see them doing that again all the way through. And like I said, to repeat myself, Del Norte could upset that. Del Norte could upset that bracket. They're capable of beating Highland for sure. It's just a matter of whether they play well together or not. Hope Christian could upset this whole bracket too. The Murphy Magic, I call it, because there was about a year or two ago, he led a team that really wouldn't have made it without him. It was a coaching job by Jim Murphy. He's the best coach in the state, and he might be able to do it again, but it's going to be a tough road to hoe because you've got Albuquerque Academy with Borrego, who's a really, really nice guard who gets in there and passes out to the outside shooters. Now, they got to just hit the shot, and if they do that, Academy has a chance to make their own run, and that's a possibility. But I see Artesia getting past all these guys and getting to the semifinals and getting past Hope and meeting up with Highland for the rematch, Craig, the rematch. And so that's where I think everything could end up going, okay? Again, these are predictions. But last year, I went 15-1 in the first round. And then, of course, if you have one that loses in the bracket, then it changes things a little bit. But like I've been saying for a long time, I usually get 50 to 75% right on these brackets every year. I usually get at least 2 to 3 in every state championship game right, as far as them getting there. Now, as far as picking the winner, I've been pretty much 50% on it, because it's by then, once you get to that point, it's a toss-up because they are so close. As far as competition-wise and what they can do. And so it should be a very interesting tournament. I'm excited, especially for 5A, because there's some really good teams here. You've got, like I was saying, La Cueva is loaded down. Cleveland is good. Volcano Vista, Rio Rancho, Sandia. These are all good teams. And Las Cruces is loaded, and they look great in the layup line. These are some really good teams this year, and that's what I'm excited about seeing this year. Now, of course, I will not be there again because, the NMAA does not give out media passes to people like me, apparently. Apparently, they keep raising the qualifications, or supposed or alleged qualifications, which they don't really exactly follow, but it's quite impressive to watch their hypocrisy. So I will not be there again this year for the state tournament or anything of that nature. But you can buy file photos from their from their contractor, XL Sports Photography. But you can't buy them from anybody else who will be there, any other photographer who will be there. So go figure, right? So maybe maybe these other guys will give it to you for free or something. Who knows? But that's kind of the situation there. So I wish all of you the best of luck. Enjoy the moment. Very few people get to play in the pit. If you get that chance, enjoy the moment. It's always special to play in a big building like that, especially one that seats 15,000 people. Enjoy that. It might be one of the best memories of your life. And if you are fortunate enough to win a state championship, enjoy that too, because that's just the tip of the iceberg, because then you have the rest of your life to do some great things. So have no fear, no doubt, no worry. Just give your best and let the cards lay out where they may, and enjoy it, because it's a special time, special memories. I still remember state tournament championship games from the past and players from the past, all these years, about a good decade. And you always have these memories, even for me especially. So I want you guys to enjoy this. You can check, again, the NMAA for times and schedules. The first round games are on March 7th. So go to maxpreps.com and click on scores, and it should have all the games there. And like I said, the lowest seed, like a number 1 versus a number 16, well, number 1's going to be the home game, okay? So that's how that works. The lowest seed versus the highest seed. That's how that's going to work. So you'll be able to figure it out, I promise you. Just go ahead and Google it and you'll figure it out. So with that being said, enjoy everything. Have a great tournament. I'll see you on the other side of it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for playing. We'll talk to you later.